All right, we're going to take a look at multi-step algebraic equations. So before, we just had to do one inverse operation in order to find the value of the variable. In these examples, we're going to have to do 2 or 3. So let's take a look at our first example. You guys did some of these with your algebra tiles this week. So I have 3p plus 5 is equal to 26. Well, I know my goal is to get p on one side of the equal sign all by itself. Well, I have this plus 5 hanging around. How do I get rid of that plus 5? By subtracting 5. So I subtract 5 from the other side. So I'm left with 3p on my left side is equal to 21 on my right side. My p is still not by itself. It's being multiplied by 3. So how do I undo multiplication? Well, I divide. So I divide by 3. I'm left with p on that side. If I divided my left side by 3, I need to divide my right side by 3. 21 divided by 3 is 7. P is equal to 7. All right, so now we have 3h plus 6 plus 2h. When it comes to solving multi-step algebraic equations, we always want to make sure that both sides are simplified. So if I look to my right side, I have this 26. All I have is this constant. There's nothing to combine it with, so I know that side is simplified. When I look to my left side, I notice I have some like terms that I can combine. I have a 3h and a 2h. So when I combine 3h and 2h, I get 5h. Then I have this positive 6. There's nothing to combine it with, so I'm just going to throw it on there. Now I'm dealing with this equation simplified, and I can go ahead and start solving. I have this plus 6. To get rid of the plus 6, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. That is now gone. I'm left with 5h is equal to 26 minus 6, gives me 20. Now I'm only left with my 5 times my h. Well, to undo multiplication, I use the inverse operation of division. Now I'm only left with h on that side. And when I divide 20 by 5, I end up with 4. H is equal to 4. Let's go ahead and let's look at our next one. Here I have 4 times the difference of 2d and 7 equals 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look in my parentheses. 2d minus 7. I cannot subtract 7 from 2d. So before I'm like, oh man, I'm stuck. I have to remember, hey, I learned about expanding my expressions using the distributive property. When we expand or use a distributive property, we get rid of those parentheses. And then we have the freedom to move stuff around. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to distribute this 4 to both terms. 4 times 2d gives me 8d. Minus 4 times 7 gives me 28, which is equal to 8. Well, now I have the freedom to go ahead and start solving. So in order to get rid of this negative 28, I'm going to have to add 28. Cancels that out. On this side, I'm left with 8d, and I'm going to have to add 28. Sorry, I didn't line up my place values. 8 plus 8 is 16. 2 plus 1 gives me 3. So 8 is equal to 36. In order to get this d by itself, I'm going to have to use the inverse operation of multiplication and divide by 8. And I'm going to have to divide the other side by 8. So d is equal to 36 divided by 8. So I'm going to take my 36 divided by 8 because I know it doesn't go in evenly because 36 is not a multiple of 8. I do know 8 goes into 36 4 times, which gives me 32. I subtract, and I end up with 4. Behind this 36, I know there's a decimal. I'm going to raise it to the roof, and behind this decimal, I have a 0. Let's bring that 0 down. 8 goes into 45 times. Subtract that 40. 0. Nothing left to bring down. I am done. D is equal to 4.5. All right, I've got one more for you. So we have 2b, oh, just kidding, sorry, 7b minus 2 divided by 4 is equal to 3. Okay, so when it comes to division ones like this, I've got to look and make sure that both my numerator and my denominator are simplified. Well, I know I can't subtract 2 from 7d, so there's nothing I can do there. With the 4, there's nothing I can do. So it's simplified. My right side 3, it's simplified. There's nothing I can do there. So then what we're going to have to do is, because my goal is to get this b by itself, I'm kind of like knocking down the building blocks until I get to here. So the only thing I can do right now is get rid of this 4. And I know once I get rid of this 4, I can start working with my 7b minus 2. So since I'm dividing by 4, in order to get rid of this 4, I'm going to have to multiply by 4. So all I'm left with on this side now is 7b minus 2. And if I multiplied my left side by 4, I'm going to have to multiply my right side by 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. Well, now I can go ahead and get rid of this negative 2. I'm going to add 2 and add 2 to this side. So now I have 7b is equal to 14. Well, I want to get this b by itself, and it's being multiplied by that 7. So I'm going to use the inverse operation and divide by 7. I'm going to divide my 14 by 7. So I know that b is equal to 2.